China is not a single story. It is a vast unfolding of landscapes, histories, and contrasts, too large to be understood in a single glance. From the ancient walls of Xi'an, where the past still stands in silent formation beneath the earth, to the endless motion of Shanghai, where the future is built faster than it can be imagined, this is a country that exists across time itself. In the mountains, places like Huangshan and Fanjingshan rise above the clouds, their peaks shaped by both nature and belief. In the south, the rivers of Guilin wind through surreal karst landscapes, where stone and water create scenes that feel almost unreal. Further west, Xinjiang stretches into vast deserts and distant mountains, where scale replaces detail and silence becomes part of the experience. And in places like Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, the land itself seems to defy logic, rising vertically into the sky, blurring the boundary between earth and imagination. This is China, not defined by one place, but by the contrast between them. A country where nature shapes culture, where history remains present, and where every journey feels like moving through a different world. Jiuzhaigou Valley unfolds like a sequence of hidden worlds, each one more vivid than the last. Lakes appear suddenly, their colors shifting between deep blue, emerald green, and bright turquoise. The clarity of the water reveals everything beneath: fallen trees, mineral patterns, layers of time preserved in silence. Waterfalls connect these lakes, flowing gently, almost quietly, as if they are part of a larger, continuous movement. The forest surrounding them changes with the seasons, lush and green in summer, golden and burning in autumn, bare and still in winter. Nothing here feels static. Every element is in motion: light, water, color, air. Jiuzhaigou is not just beautiful. It feels intentional, as if nature here is carefully composing itself. Fanjingshan rises like something unfinished, as if the earth itself paused mid-creation. Two peaks stand apart at the summit, connected by a narrow bridge, suspended above a sea of clouds that never fully settles. The climb is long, a winding ascent through forests that grow denser with every step. Stone stairs cut into the mountain lead upward, sometimes disappearing into mist, sometimes opening to sudden, breathtaking views. And then, at the top, temples, impossibly placed, resting on rock formations that seem too narrow to hold them. The air feels thinner here, quieter. Not empty, but still, as if the mountain itself is asking for silence. Fanjingshan is not just a place you visit. It is a place you arrive at, slowly, both physically and inwardly. Guangxi feels like a landscape shaped by patience. Over millions of years, water carved its way through stone, leaving behind towering karst formations that rise unexpectedly from the earth. They do not form a continuous range. They stand apart, isolated, vertical, deliberate. Between them, rivers move slowly, guiding the rhythm of everything around them. Villages appear quietly within this terrain, their presence subtle, almost secondary to the scale of nature. Here, the land does not adapt to people. People adapt to the land. And in that balance, Guangxi finds its identity. Bajiaoshan doesn't reveal itself all at once. It emerges slowly through layers of mist and silence, as if the mountain is choosing when to be seen. The ridges roll gently across the horizon, covered in dense forests that shift in tone with every change of light. At dawn, everything feels soft and undefined. By midday, the landscape sharpens, greens deepen, shadows stretch, and the mountain begins to show its structure. There are no dramatic cliffs here, no sudden drops, only a steady rhythm of elevation and descent, like a breath moving through the land. Walking through it, you don't feel like you are conquering a mountain. You feel like you are being absorbed into it. Fuxian Lake stretches outward like a quiet horizon, its surface so clear it feels almost untouched by time. Unlike most inland waters, there is a depth here that you can sense, even without seeing it. The lake holds a stillness that is not empty, but layered, as if something ancient rests beneath its calm exterior. Mountains frame the edges, not sharply, but gently, allowing the sky to dominate the reflection. At certain moments, water and sky become indistinguishable, a seamless field of blue that removes all sense of boundary. There are no dramatic movements here. No rushing currents. Only stillness and depth. And sometimes that is far more powerful. Fenghuang ancient town moves at a different pace, one that doesn't follow clocks, but water. The river flows steadily through its center, carrying reflections of wooden houses, red lanterns, and passing boats. Homes stand on stilts above the surface, their foundations rooted not in land, but in balance. By day, the town feels quiet, almost reserved. But as evening falls, light begins to gather. Lanterns glow, reflections deepen, and the entire town transforms into something softer, more fluid. Bridges stretch across the river like pauses in a sentence, connecting not just two sides, but different moments in time. Here, nothing feels rushed. Even the silence has weight. Feng Huang doesn't try to impress. It simply exists, unchanged, uninterrupted, and deeply present. Jianglang Mountain rises with a sense of precision that feels almost unnatural. Three massive sandstone pillars dominate the landscape, standing side by side, their vertical lines clean, defined, unmistakable. They do not blend into the environment. They interrupt it. From a distance, they appear like structures rather than formations, as if placed rather than formed. Paths lead toward them, gradually revealing their scale, their texture, their presence. Standing beneath them, you feel the contrast between human proportion and geological time. Jianglang is not vast, but it is exact. And that precision gives it power. Huangshan is a landscape of extremes, sharp granite peaks, ancient pine trees, and a sky that never stays the same. The mountains rise abruptly, their edges carved into dramatic, almost surreal forms. Trees grow out of bare rock, twisting and bending in ways that seem impossible. Clouds gather below the peaks, turning the summits into islands floating above a white sea. At sunrise, everything shifts. Light breaks across the clouds, casting shadows that move like waves. Paths wind along narrow ridges, sometimes disappearing into mist, sometimes opening to vast, endless views. Huangshan is not constant. It is always changing, and that is what makes it unforgettable. Mount Ime rises through layers of meaning as much as layers of terrain. The journey begins in dense forest, where paths are shaded and the air feels heavy with moisture. As the climb continues, temples begin to appear, not as destinations, but as moments along the way. Each one marks a pause, a shift, a chance to step out of movement and into reflection. Higher still, the landscape opens. Clouds gather below, and the world you started from begins to disappear. By the summit, there is a sense not of arrival, but of detachment, as if the mountain has slowly removed you from everything else. Mount Ime is not just climbed. It is experienced, layer by layer. Qinghai expands beyond immediate perception. This is not a landscape defined by detail, but by distance. The sky feels larger here, the horizon further away. The air thinner, clearer, quieter. Lakes reflect the sky with near-perfect symmetry, while grasslands stretch outward without interruption. There are few boundaries, few markers, few distractions. And in that openness, something shifts. Qinghai does not overwhelm with features. It creates space and invites you to feel it. Beijing is not just a city, it is a timeline layered in stone, where centuries exist side by side, never fully replaced. At its core lies the vast expanse of the Forbidden City, a place built not just for power, but for permanence. Its courtyards stretch endlessly, each gate revealing another space, another threshold, another era. Beyond it, the city expands in every direction. Ring roads, glass towers, endless movement. And yet history is never far. The Great Wall of China winds across distant mountains, not as a single structure, but as a memory carved into the landscape. In Beijing, the past is not preserved behind glass. It is lived in, walked through, and built upon. Every street carries a sense of transition, a city that is always becoming something new, without ever letting go of what it once was. Lijiang feels like a place built around water and memory. Stone streets curve gently through the town, intersected by narrow canals that carry clear, flowing streams. Bridges connect every corner, each one slightly different, each one worn by time. The architecture remains intact: wooden houses, carved details, sloping roofs, but it is the atmosphere that defines the city. In the distance, mountains rise quietly, their snow-covered peaks contrasting with the warmth of the town below. Life here moves steadily, not frozen in the past, but not rushing toward the future either. Lijiang exists in between, a place where history continues rather than ends. Guilin is often described as beautiful, but that word feels incomplete. Because what defines Guilin is not just its scenery, but the way that scenery unfolds. The Li River does not rush. It drifts. And along its path, karst peaks rise one by one, each with a slightly different shape, as if the landscape is revealing variations on a single idea. Mist lingers between them, softening the distance, turning depth into something uncertain. Boats move quietly across the water, not disrupting the scene, but becoming part of it. Guilin is not a place you observe. It is a place you move through, slowly, like turning the pages of a painting. Guizhou exists in layers of land, of culture, of time. Mountains overlap endlessly, creating valleys that feel hidden from everything beyond them. Mist settles into these spaces, not as weather, but as part of the landscape itself. Within these valleys, communities have formed over generations, preserving ways of life shaped by isolation and adaptation. There is a quiet resilience here, not visible at first glance, but present in every structure, every path, every tradition. Guizhou does not reveal itself quickly. It asks for time, and in return, it offers depth. Hangzhou is built around a single idea: harmony. At the center, lies the West Lake, a body of water that does not dominate the city, but defines it. The shoreline curves gently, lined with willows that lean toward the surface as if drawn by reflection. Pavilions appear through the trees, bridges cross the water in measured arcs, and distant hills complete the composition. Nothing feels accidental. Every element exists in balance, not perfectly symmetrical, but carefully arranged. For centuries, this landscape has inspired poets, painters, thinkers. Because here, beauty is not overwhelming. It is quiet and intentional. Yet beyond this stillness, another rhythm begins. The city expands outward, into avenues filled with movement, into districts where glass and steel rise with precision. The modern Hangzhou does not replace what came before. It builds around it. As night falls, light reflects not only from lanterns on the lake, but from towers that define the skyline. Technology flows through the city, shaping how it grows, how it moves, how it connects. And still, the lake remains unchanged at its center, absorbing the noise, softening the edges, holding everything in quiet balance. In Hangzhou, the past is not lost to progress, and the future does not erase what is calm. They exist together, like two reflections on the same water, never identical, but never separate. Potala Palace rises above Lhasa like a structure beyond scale. Built into the mountain itself, it does not sit on the land. It becomes part of it. Its white walls stretch outward, while deep red sections rise at the center, drawing the eye upward, layer by layer. From a distance, it feels monumental. Up close, it becomes intricate. Corridors, stairways, rooms filled with history and devotion. For centuries, it stood as the heart of spiritual authority, a place where belief shaped architecture. The air here is thinner, the sky closer, and the silence deeper. The Patala Palace is not just seen. It is felt, as presence, as weight, as history that has never left. Xinjiang stretches across extremes. Deserts expand endlessly, their dunes shaped by wind into patterns that never last. Mountains rise in the distance, snow-covered, unchanging in contrast to the shifting sands below. The scale is difficult to grasp. Distances feel longer. Silence feels deeper. There are moments here when the landscape seems almost untouched, as if it exists beyond human presence. Xinjiang is not defined by one image. It is defined by contrast, and within that contrast, it reveals its true scale. Shanghai moves faster than most places can be understood. Its skyline rises in layers of glass and steel, constantly evolving, never complete. The Huangpu River cuts through the city, separating past and future, yet connecting them at the same time. On one side, historic buildings stand as reminders of another era. On the other, towers reach upward, defining what comes next. At night, the city transforms into light. Reflections, movement, energy without pause. Shanghai is not still, it is momentum. And to stand within it is to feel that movement, whether you choose to follow it or not. Shenzhen is a city defined not by history, but by acceleration. In just a few decades, it has transformed from something small and undefined into one of the most dynamic urban spaces in the world. Buildings rise quickly. Ideas move faster. There is a sense here that everything is temporary, not because it lacks value, but because it is always being replaced by something new. Shenzhen does not look backward. It builds forward. And in that constant state of becoming, it creates its own identity. Xi'an carries a sense of origin. For centuries, it stood as the beginning of the Silk Road, a point where journeys started and connections formed. Its ancient walls still encircle the city, defining a boundary that time has not erased. Beneath the surface lies the Terracotta Army, a vast, silent formation created not for the living, but for eternity. Each figure is distinct, each one part of something larger. Xi'an is not just historical, it feels foundational, as if many stories begin here, even now. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park does not feel like part of the ordinary world. It feels imagined, as if the landscape was shaped not by time, but by vision. From the forest floor, stone pillars rise vertically into the sky, thin, towering, and impossibly distant from one another. They do not connect like mountain ranges. They stand alone, isolated, deliberate, almost defiant. For millions of years, wind and water carved these formations from sandstone, slowly removing everything that was not essential, until only these vertical structures remained. But it is not just the rock that defines Zhangjiajie. It is the space between them. Clouds move constantly through the pillars, filling the gaps, dissolving edges, turning solid ground into something uncertain. At times, entire peaks disappear, not because they are gone, but because they are hidden within the sky itself. From above, the landscape loses all sense of scale. Pillars stretch upward through layers of mist, fading into the distance until they are no longer distinguishable from clouds. And then there are the paths, narrow trails carved into cliffs, glass walkways suspended over open air, bridges that connect what should not be connected. Walking here is not just movement. It is awareness. Every step reminds you how thin the line is between ground and sky. Zhangjiajie does not simply show you a landscape. It removes your sense of orientation, redefines distance, and leaves you suspended, somewhere between reality and imagination. Kilian Mountains stretch across the horizon like a quiet boundary, where fertile valleys give way to vast, untamed land. From afar, the mountains dissolve into layers, each ridge fading softly into the next, losing definition as distance grows. But closer, the landscape begins to sharpen. Snow settles along the highest peaks, unchanging, while below, rivers and grasslands bring subtle movement to the slopes. Glaciers feed narrow streams that carve through the valleys, creating thin lines of life in a rugged terrain. Everything here exists in contrast: cold and warmth, height and depth, stillness and motion. Clouds drift slowly overhead, their shadows moving across the land in a rhythm that never rushes. There are few signs of human presence. No cities, no structures competing for attention. Only space, wide, open, and enduring. The Kilian Mountains do not overwhelm. They linger through silence, through scale, through a beauty that reveals itself slowly and stays long after you leave. Wulingyuan's scenic area unfolds not as a single landscape, but as a sequence of shifting perspectives. At first, from a distance, the mountains appear endless. Stone pillars rise from the earth in dense clusters, stretching across the horizon like a forest turned to stone. As the camera moves closer, details begin to separate. Each pillar stands alone, tall, vertical, carved by time into sharp, irregular forms. Mist drifts slowly between them, softening the gaps, blurring the distance, until depth itself becomes uncertain. Then, a structure appears. A temple resting quietly on a ridge, surrounded not by land, but by height. It does not dominate the landscape. It yields to it. Paths begin to reveal themselves. Narrow walkways cut into cliffs, railings tracing the edge of open space, where every step feels suspended. From above, the perspective shifts again. The pillars no longer feel tall, they feel infinite. Layers of stone fade into mist. One behind another, until the entire landscape dissolves into shape and shadow. And then, the clouds return. Rolling in, covering, revealing, turning solid ground into something temporary. In Wulingyuan, nothing is fixed. Not the view, not the distance, not even the sense of where you stand. It is a place where the earth rises vertically, where space replaces ground, and where every frame feels like it exists somewhere between reality and illusion. Jade Dragon Snow Mountain rises along the horizon like a frozen boundary, a chain of snow-covered peaks that remain unchanged while the world below shifts. From a distance, the mountain feels still, its white summits holding their form against time and season. But closer, that stillness begins to move. Clouds drift across the ridgeline, revealing and concealing the peaks in slow motion, turning solid rock into something almost unreal. Below the snow, the landscape softens. Forests emerge, streams flow from melting ice, carrying life down into the valleys. There is a quiet contrast here between permanence and change, between silence and movement. As altitude rises, the air thins, sound fades, and every step becomes more deliberate. Light transforms everything. At sunrise, the peaks glow softly. By evening, and the shadows deepen the mountain's shape. Jade Dragon Snow Mountain is not just height. It is a presence, shifting, distant, and always just beyond reach. Mount Syanuoduoji rises sharp and distant, a snow-covered peak standing alone against the open sky. Its ridges cut cleanly upward, leading to a summit that feels untouched, almost unreachable. Clouds drift around it in slow motion, sometimes revealing its full form, sometimes hiding it completely. Below, the land opens into quiet valleys, soft and expansive, in contrast to the stillness above. There is a distance here that cannot be crossed. Not just in space, but in feeling. Mount Syanuoduoji does not invite you closer. It remains silent, elevated, a presence that is meant to be seen, but never fully reached. From the still waters of West Lake to the endless pillars of Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. From the ancient echoes of Xi'an to the silent heights of Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. This was never just a journey across places. It was a journey across contrasts, between past and future. Between movement and stillness. Between what feels familiar and what feels beyond reach. And maybe that's what stays with you. Not the names, not the locations, but the feeling that somewhere out there are still places that can completely change the way you see the world.